Over the last decade, I've done a lot of work with franchises, be that the franchisor, franchisees, or the franchise group as a whole, through one-to-one coaching, through trainings, through the initial franchisee training and speaking at conferences. And I think there's three key things that I've worked out you really need to remember when working with a franchise group. And the first one is that every franchisee is individual. They're each running their own separate business, and every one of their businesses is different. A lot of people go into a franchise group and they assume because everybody's in the franchise, they're all running the same business, so they treat them all exactly the same. The thing is that every person, every franchisee is their own unique individual. So their business will be slightly different to the next person's business. Location can come into play, past histories, past experience, current market demographics, things that are happening in the area. And I think unless you remember to treat every single person as an individual, you won't get the success that you're looking for out of your franchisees. And they won't be achieving what it is that they want to achieve for their life and their business. Because in the end, they're real people. They're not a number. A franchise system is not like a cookie cutter method. Like, yeah, sure, okay, we have a system, we have a business model that works, but people are not cookie cutter people. We need to, make some exceptions for them. And that doesn't mean in a negative way. That can also mean in a positive way. What are their strengths and talents? How can they bring those to their franchise business? The second thing to remember in franchising is that the best thing about a franchise is that all the franchisees have access to everybody else's results. They have access to all of the other franchisees to speak to and to gain help and assistance and ideas and opinions. The worst thing about a franchise is that all the franchisees have access to everybody else's figures, to every other franchisee. You need to understand that it is a double-edged sword. And we can use that in a positive manner, but if it's used in a negative manner, it can cripple a franchise group. And sometimes that's a real cultural issue, and understanding who to talk to and who can give you the best advice. A lot of people in franchise groups start to judge themselves. They're running a great business, but they see the figures of the top performers, and therefore they can actually turn quite negative. And the simple reason is that they're judging themselves against other performing franchises. The same thing can happen in reverse too. You can have top performing franchisees in a franchise group, and they start to kick back and think, well, you know what, I'm number one, I'm number two. I don't need to work any harder, when there's still opportunity and potential in their business and they haven't actually achieved the goals that they're looking for. The third thing to remember in a franchise is that oftentimes in a franchise, the franchisor's business, that head office team, is more like a corporation, okay? There's people, there's employees, there's marketing managers, sales consultants, admin team. Whereas in most franchises, the franchisee is running a small business. Now, I don't know about you, but in my experience, corporates, small business, oil and water, the two don't mix. And as a franchisor, if you don't remember that and realize that your franchisees are running a small business, or more importantly, it's not usually the franchisor that needs to remember that, it's the franchisor's team. It's that head office team. Sometimes the head office team can forget that a franchisee has got their entire livelihood on the line. They've mortgaged their house to get into this business. And they're earning a wage in the head office team, and they're saying things to the franchisee that just don't mix. And this is really crucial in a franchise to understand that. The other thing that can happen too is, and it works well, because you want everybody to believe we're all on the same team. You want your franchisees to feel that they're on the same team as the franchisor. But as the franchisor and the franchisor's team, you need to remember who are your customers. Your customers are the franchisees. It's not the end user. The end user is the franchisee's customer. Your customer is the franchisee. Are we adding value to our customers? Are we helping them? So although you want to allow them to believe they're in a team and work as a team, you don't ever forget that your franchisees are your customers. So that's just three things that I really make sure I look out for when I'm working with a franchise group. Franchising is an awesome business model. It gives people an opportunity to take control and to be in a business where normally they wouldn't. The number one thing that a franchisee looks for is support. It's not necessarily always the brand. It's not necessarily all the systems. It's what sort of support are they getting? And the systems play a part of that support, but it's also the support that they're going to have ongoing in their business. So if you think that I could help you in your franchise, if that's just as simple as a conference presentation, a webinar, a series of webinars, some one-to-one coaching, or even in that initial first training for a franchisee so they understand the nuts and bolts of their business so that they're being the business owner of their franchise, then I'd love to help you.